Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. 欢迎大家的到来. I'm Evie, and I'm the head of business development at Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation. It feels just like yesterday when we were in Hong Kong last time talking about Kaspa. But today, we stand at the threshold of a new era. While others questioned the scalability of proof of work, Kaspa didn't dream of solutions. It built them. Today, we're honored to have our distinguished guests across various fields joining us to share their vision for Kaspa. The blockchain revolution began with Satoshi Nakamoto's vision of a decentralized future, and this has stood as a golden standard of security and decentralization. Yet, as the industry evolved, a crucial question emerged. Could we maintain these fundamental principles while achieving true scalability? Many choose to abandon one principle in pursuit of another. But Kaspa saw a different path. We recognized that true challenge wasn't choosing between these principles. It was finding a way to have both. Despite the fact that the market trend has not exactly been in our favor, we have witnessed Kaspa's resilience in the capital markets. And more importantly, Kaspa has built a community of developers, miners, and users who share the vision of a scalable, secure, and truly decentralized future. Here now we invite visionaries to join us in this journey where academic excellence meets real-world applications and where innovation meets persistency. What our guests will present this morning is a revolution standing right here, right now. For the rest of the morning, I'll be your host. Now, please join me in welcoming our Monica Foreman, our dear colleague and Director of Communication at Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation, who will present her talk, Making an Impact in the Decentralized World, Lessons We Learned from the Kaspa Ecosystem.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. Okay, and let's start this show. So, when CAF was just founded and joined the Kaspa ecosystem, it was very clear that Kaspa is truly decentralized. Now, I won't go into lengths talking about DAG protocols and about how Kaspa ultimately not only follows the Nakamoto consensus, but actually even surpasses it. And because there are people sitting here that are much smarter than I am and will tell you much more about all the tech aspects of Kaspa. But what I can tell you is that when we talk about decentralization, we can't just talk about the technological aspect of decentralization. Another crucial part of a crypto project being truly decentralized is cultural decentralization or organizational one. And this was also evident from the earliest days of Kaspa. When it was just launched, it had no fancy website, it had a very bare logo, it didn't have any branding or marketing scheme. All of those things just happened because people who liked Kaspa started doing that and saw value in them making it happen for Kaspa. Now, unlike the technological aspect, which just follows a very strict cryptographic logic, when we talk about cultural decentralization, this is something made by human beings, and as such, it is much messier and often misunderstood. And this means that because it is dependent on human beings and the work that they do, it's a constant and ongoing pursuit. This is something that the math geniuses cannot just initially set up and expect everyone to follow. We must adhere to it, we must maintain it. And as we've seen in other projects, it can also be easily eroded. It has its challenges, but ultimately, this is what creates fairness and better outcomes. Kaspa was the only project back in the day to beat the bearish market despite having no centralization at all. We in CAF wanted to be a part of that. In this talk, I'm going to present the 5 underlying principles that are crucial to cultural decentralization. I'm going to show how CAF implements and fosters them, why they call for a foundation, and how Kaspa is better for it. Let's start with principle number 1, radical equality. Only when we recognize that every node, person, and entity in the ecosystem is equal, even though different, can we prevent a situation where someone wants to seize more power and tell others what to do. We have to assume that no actor or contributor is better than another, therefore, there can also be no hierarchy of opinion. Each opinion has the same weight. Talent is not concentrated in one place, nor is the truth. Now you might ask, how then do we know what to follow or what should be done? And the answer is competition. If we have competition, the most suitable solution, the most suitable person will win. And for that competition to be meaningful, everyone who wants to be a part of it should be a part of it with no barriers of entry, something that we strive for in Kaspa. Now, how can we ensure that? Firstly, we need to have a mental switch. We need to understand that there is no such thing as a harmful opinion. An opinion on its own does not harm anyone in the ecosystem, and ultimately, we follow what everyone thinks is most suitable. Secondly, there is no blame by association. The fact that someone in the ecosystem promotes a certain project or idea does not reflect on anyone else in the ecosystem doing that. Thirdly, and this is crucial, people are capable of judging for themselves, and we need to trust them to do their own research. Now, how does it look like in practice? Firstly, this looks like a polyphony of messages. A good example for that is the Kaspa Twitter sphere. We see that there are many accounts, no official account. We see that there is no uniformity of language or no mandatory tagging in it. We secondly see it in the fact that there is no policing in the ecosystem. A prime example is KRC20 tokens. It is no secret that Jonathan, sitting here, does not like those tokens, and yet he does not want and cannot prevent them from happening in the ecosystem because this is a decentralized space, and he knows that some people do see value in them, therefore they are still there. The third way of implementing that is amplifying various voices, and this is something we in CAF really strive for. So we see it in the fact that we have an open call for devs, because we know that they are out there, and they are not necessarily our friends or people that we know, and we want to find them. Secondly, and this is something implemented this year, we see that many events are community-led. We could have sat in the beginning of the year and said, okay, let's plan an event calendar. But we recognized that many people who love Kaspa have a lot more knowledge about their communities than we do. Therefore, we came up with the scheme of giving them the funds and then having them run the show. So we had that in events in France, in the Netherlands, in Romania, and we will have much more. Also, when it comes to thought leadership, we believe that various voices convince various people. Therefore, we want to have a variety of people who are speaking for Kaspa. They need to be new, they need to be experienced, they need to be from everywhere in the world, they need to be tech people, non-tech people. You will see in the following 3 hours a variety of people presenting. Second principle is the invincible hand of the ecosystem. And what do I mean by that? Going back to the philosopher and economist Adam Smith, who said that the market, through the self-interest of individuals and firms, can coordinate economic activity and allocate resources efficiently. 2 key terms you need to remember here. First one being self-interest. People are motivated by their own interest without anyone controlling the market. And this is not a bad thing, because ultimately through that we can create a better common good. The second one is incentives. People are driven by incentives created in the market, and those incentives can align ultimately to the creation of better outcomes. What does it look like in Kaspa? First of all, it's a zero-trust ecosystem. The developers do it brilliantly by using game theory. They understand that people have self-interest, and yet, instead of trying to punish them, they understand that we can just change the incentives in order to make sure that everyone benefits while still serving their interest. That's why, while Ethereum struggles with MEV, Kaspa has a very good solution and is MEV resistant. Also, we see that in the ecosystem by the fact that the more competition, the better. So for example, we in CAF understand that having multiple L2s is a good thing all in all, because this means that they would compete more for the benefit of users and for the benefit of builders. That's why we support all projects in every way that we can, and you will also see representatives of them in this event. Also, we have open tenders, and we acknowledge all actors in the ecosystem knowing that they have different interests. Then the third principle being that everything is in flux. Now in crypto they say that a month is like a year in real life. And that's true because there are so many moving parts, so many changes happening in the ecosystem. That's why it would be silly to have a dogma. It would be very silly to say, we always do that, we never do this. We should talk more in the rhetoric of having a suitable solution rather than the right solution. And suitable solution is suitable for the time, for the place, and for the people. This also means that in this ecosystem, we have to be very flexible. So when we think about marketing, for example, the marketing of an upcoming project is not the same as the marketing of a project that aims to be in the leading top 5. Also, we have to think about different demographics for Kaspa. We of course have to think about the existing community, but we also have to think about traders, we have to think about degens, we have to think about the POW enthusiasts. All of them matter. And even the developments on Kaspa change in priorities, timing, and so on. Fourth principle, communication is key. Sounds banal, but I promise it has to do with decentralization as well. And what do I mean by that? When no one can tell anyone what to do, only persuasion creates mobilization. I cannot command anyone to do anything. It has to be out of their own will. Therefore, the way to move people is to show them there is value to them. And in Kaspa, this also means cross-cultural communication, because it's such a global community. Secondly, we say that even if you do the most amazing things for Kaspa, because there is no top-down communication and no official channel, if you do something, you have to publish it, or else no one will know. And there are many sources of information. Thirdly, you can only control your image, because whatever an actor does in the ecosystem affects only them. You can only be in charge of what you do. And a very curious example for that is that we in CAF can do a lot of marketing. We can pay for events, we can have people around. But ultimately, Kaspa's branding is determined by its technology and by the interactions that people have with it in an accumulative way. Therefore, it is something that all of you create and not just us as one actor in the network. Fifth principle, nothing will come of nothing. And what do I mean by that? Simply put, no one will do things for you in the ecosystem. If you want it done, do it yourself. And if you want to go big, give others reasons to collaborate with you, or create incentives for them to want to do that. This can be some sort of mutual interest, this can be money, this can be acknowledgement, but you need to motivate others and not just assume people will do it. Then, this begs the question. I've shown you 5 principles of decentralization, so why would we need a foundation? And the answer is, we don't, but it sure does help to have a foundation. And why is that? Because a foundation allows us to have pooled resources and to have initiatives that no single person can have. A foundation can prevent stagnation and encourage competition, breaking monopolies by having more and more actors in the ecosystem. It can also create a continuous process of ideation, because there are always people sitting there and thinking, what can help Kaspa? What can help Kaspa? And it can empower various voices, giving them various platforms so you could all hear from them. It is an open door for communication, should one want to communicate with it, and it is a connector. It has the ability to find people, initiatives, and resources across the network and connect those who want to be connected, because it knows everyone in this network. Then, just like decentralization is an ideal, we also have the ideal of striving to do better. We hope to continue contributing to Kaspa and its future and its success by having R&D grants and fundings, by fostering partnerships and business opportunities, by investing in marketing and education, and of course, just because it's decentralized, we also want to hear from you. If you have ideas, if you want to help, if you want to use us, we want you, whether you're a miner, holder, investor, merchant, or builder. Lastly, I will end with a little anecdote. Kaf in Hebrew, where I come from and some of the developers are, is actually fun. So I will wish you a very fun rest of the event, and thank you very, very much.